What's up guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 3 of the 1989 GS500 Cafe Racing project. First off, I'd like to apologise to you guys because it's been such a long time since I've done the last video, but I've had a lot going on, rebuilding the other bike, the DRZ, and sorting the other bike out from the track day and stuff. So I've got 3 weeks off work now, so it gives me a good bit of time to crack into this and get some bits done. As you can probably see, the bike's changed a little bit since the last video. I haven't done a lot of work on it, apart from obviously dropping the engine out, which is down here. So the engine's out now, which is good. Bit of a job, but got it out in the end. So this is where we are at the moment. This side of the frame's all rubbed down, ready for paint. I haven't bothered rubbing down this bit of the subframe here. I've got to get rid of the side stand switch still. Because this is going to be cut off for the new seat unit, so there's no point in wasting time and rubbing that down when it don't need to be done. This side's kind of been rubbed down, but still needs a bit of work. The forks have obviously been done in an earlier video, and the engine's out. I'll just give you started rubbing the side of the engine casing down. I think what the plan with the engine's going to be is I'm going to strip the whole thing back to aluminium like this is, and then I'm going to do the top half black and this bit black also, and I think with the engine casings both sides I'm going to polish them, so it's nice polished aluminium. And I'm going to ask a mate of mine, I've got the cover that goes over here, I'm going to ask a mate of mine to do a little design on there, maybe a 53 on there or something like that. I'm not too sure yet, but he's good with the paintbrushes, so I might ask him to do a little design for that. Did it have a bit of a snag getting the engine out. This bolt that goes through here got stuck in there big time. I ended up shearing the end of the bolt off, so that was a bit of a nightmare getting it out. And that's what I had to do. I had to end up drilling both sides of the holes out here, didn't I? Yeah, she knows. Yeah, so end up drilling both sides of this out and then punching that right through. So I'm going to need to get a new engine mount bolt, but it's not a problem. At least I managed to get it out, which is good news. So that's the plan with the engine, but I'm not going to work on that for today. I managed to get the headers off, the exhaust headers off. They come off nice and easy, surprisingly. No bolts sheared off. I've cleaned all these bolts up, re-greased them all, so when it goes back on, they're going to be nice and easy to fit. So today, what I plan on doing, much like the forks, is to get some bits nice and cleaned up, repainted, and ready for once the frame's been sprayed for everything to start being mounted back on. As you can see, the bike's down to what I call the rolling bones at the minute, the absolute bare minimum, so I can just move it around. So we've got the forks, the wheels, the swing arm and the shock. That's all that's in the bike at the moment. And all these parts down here, the parts that need cleaning up, servicing, like the brake. The brakes feel absolutely wooden at the moment. It's like tick, 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 tick as you're pulling the brake lever. So I need to strip down the master cylinder and get to work on that, give that a good service and a good clean. So that needs doing front and back. There's the rear one there. Get these exhaust headers rubbed down and repainted. Lots to do in the front light as well, and there's quite a bit to do. So that's the plan for today. I'll give this a good clean up, the rear disc. That's come up very nice. It's almost like brand new. So see, that's going to fit on there, and you can just see the difference it makes when it's nice and clean. So that's all done. I've got the front disc to do yet, which is outside still at the minute. And we'll see where we are at the end of today. So I'm going to start cracking on with some cleaning and painting, just little bits like this, get all these little bits done, and we'll see where we are. So I think my first thing I'm going to do is try and get that front brake working nicely. I think that's going to be my first job. So I'm going to start stripping that down now and see if we can get that running like brand new. So to do this job, I've just mounted all the system back up onto the bars temporarily. So I've got the lever back on there, with the reservoir and the master cylinder, and then I've put the caliper back onto the forks just because it makes the job a lot easier when it comes to bleeding the brakes. So that's my next stage, is to bleed the brake system with my bleeding kit. Very simple, it's nothing I've brought, it's just something that I made up myself. All you need is a jar, a bit of tube to put onto the bleed nipple, and an 8mm spanner, and then pump away and the fluid will come out. So let's get the fluid out, and then I can start stripping the caliper back, giving that a clean, and also the same with the master cylinder as well. Right, so that's the master cylinder stripped and taken apart. That's saved some of the fluid for you guys to have a look at, and you can see why it didn't feel so good. Horrible. So, master cylinder stripped apart. Let me turn it around that way. I don't know if you can see in there. Let me try and hold it up to the light for you. All sorts of crap in there. That's why the brake would have been feeling horrible. Obviously, this part here goes in here, like so. Then that pushes down. I can't do it with one hand. But anyway, that goes in there, and then you've got this bit of the brake lever here, which pushes against there, and then as you pull the lever, it pushes that in, pushing the fluid around the system, causing the brakes to the brake pads to close in. So these seals here don't actually look too bad. They're not too bad at all. The dust cap, the dust seal that goes in there like that, is absolutely wrecked. It's perished. So I'll have to get a new one of them. But that's not a major drama. So what I'm going to do with this in here, you've got to be very careful with doing stuff like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some of the finest wet and dry sandpaper I can find. Just stick it in that hole, give it a couple of little turns, just a tiny little bit at a time. Give it a good clean up in there, and that should sort the problem out. Should have it running nice again. So I'm going to do that and see how it turns out. Right, so there's all the components to the master cylinder all nicely cleaned up. Just with a little bit of 320 wet and dry paper I've got in there nice and clean. Again, I don't know if you can see that too well, but basically just sort of rolled that up like into that shape, put it in there just a little bit at a time. Keep taking it out, keep checking it, but that's all nice and clean in there now. Even give the circlip a little bit of a clean up. So, like I said before, those seals are okay. That one's completely shot, but if I'm ordering one of them, I might as well order these seals as well. So, that's all I can do on that for the moment. On the master cylinder, I'm going to work on the caliper in a bit. So what I might do now is strip this paint off of here, get this switch off, the front brake light switch, get that off, and I think I might give it a coat of primer and get it ready for paint. Okay, so the master cylinder's outside. I've just given it its first coat of primer, so I'm just waiting for that first coat to dry off before I can put a bit more on there and coat that up. And what I'm going to do, I've cleaned this disc up as I showed you guys earlier. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mask this off and going to paint the inside bit here. Going to give that some primer as well while I'm outside and I've got a little dry spell. And I'm going to do the inside of the disc black to freshen it up and make it look nice. So I'm going to mask that out now, get some primer on it and then get some black on it, hopefully by the end of the day. Okay, so discs outside all primed up, ready for a coat of black paint. And I'm going to do these as well now. Like I say, today was just a day just to get some bits repainted and looking fresh. So these are the rear chain adjusters, which sit in the end of the swing arm there. So give them a clean up, coat of primer and a coat of paint. Okay guys, so that's all our bits that are painted now. This is the master cylinder. That's in primer, looking nice again. They're the swing arm end caps, chain adjusters, whatever you want to call them. That's how the discs come out. That's come out really good. I'll show you the other side. I'm going to leave that 24 hours before I put any lacquer on there. Just let that base coat dry right off. And there's the reservoir cap, and there's the rotator clamp. So it's all come out nice. Very pleased with it. I'm leaving the master cylinder, the swing arm caps, the reservoir cap and the rotator clamp all in primer for the moment, because guess what guys, I still haven't decided on the colour. I think I know what I want, but I'm not 100% sure yet, so before I go spraying any little bits like that, I'm just going to make sure it's definitely what I want. So they're just going to stay in primer for now. So that's it for this episode guys. It's a bit of a boring one for you guys, and I apologise for that, but I promise you one thing, it's not going to be as long between episodes this time. So I'm going to be working on the bike again tomorrow, so within the next few days I should have another video up. Now I'm rolling with it again. Hopefully we can get into a rhythm and start knocking bits out a bit faster. So like I say guys, thanks very much for watching. That is the end of part 3.